While working for Vince McMahon is usually great news for your bank balance, jumping from a rival promotion comes with certain risks, and none more so when that rival promotion is Impact Wrestling. For years, WWE have been willfully ignorant of the former TNA's existence, mercilessly scrubbing the history of any Impact Wrestling import, and leaving the Impact Zone for Connecticut has often become tantamount to starting from scratch. The good news for the returning EC3 & Co is that an increasing amount of WWE's Impact acquisitions have flourished in their new workplace, many of them establishing themselves among the company's most popular performers. But who has done the best? We won't feature every wrestler who has worked for both companies. Guys like Kurt Angle, who'd already reached the top of WWE, aren't included, and the same goes for the likes of CM Punk, who was only in TNA for a cup of tea. With that in mind, I'm Andy from WhatCulture.com, and these are the 10 most successful TNA wrestlers in WWE. Number 10. Austin Aries. Austin Aries' WWE career probably has to go down as a failure, even though he and Neville threatened to bring relevance to the drab cruiserweight division during their awesome feud. Unfortunately, nothing came of it in the long term. Aries wasn't able to topple the supposed king, and ended up cutting ties with the company altogether at the climax of their storyline, citing creative frustrations. It was a far cry from his time in Impact, where he performed between 2011 and 2015, capturing the promotion's biggest prize once and headlining Bound for Glory in 2012. Aries' success since returning to Orlando last month just goes to show what could have been. He deserved far more than he was given during his time with WWE. Number 9. Zelina Vega. Though she primarily works as a manager, there's little doubt Zelina Vega's long-term future lies in the ring. During her stint as Impact's Rosita, Vega played a big part in the short-lived TNA Knockouts tag division, holding the belts once alongside kayfabe cousin Sarita. An excellent manager she may be, but given her considerable athletic talents and the new opportunities brought about by WWE's expanding female ranks, Zelina will likely be wrestling before long. Regardless, she's playing a great role as Andrade Almas' business partner, and stands out as one of NXT's best personalities. Number 8. Sting. A WCW mainstay for more than a decade, Sting's name stands out among TNA alumni. He went into WWE in 2014 with nothing to prove, having already cultivated a deserved reputation as one of the biggest stars in industry history. But when it was all said and done, there was a nagging sense that WWE hadn't made the most of him. His WrestleMania 31 match with Triple H was a wet fart, and the game's win felt like a petty swipe at WCW's legacy. Of course, nothing Sting did in WWE would ever be good enough once it was clear that the Undertaker Dream match was firmly off the table. But that was a problem of the company's own making. Both parties were raring to go in Santa Clara, but the company had Taker wrestle Bray Wyatt instead. Great move, guys! Number 7. Eric Young. Eric Young will never be a WWE title contender. He's talented, but he's settled into a spot in NXT's tag ranks, with countless contemporaries standing between him and the brand's biggest prize. But this is nothing to be ashamed of. Young, a so-called TNA original, joined WWE in his mid-30s, giving him only a short window of time to reach the top. Still, he's had an impressive NXT run. His impactful Sanity group headlined TakeOver War Games, and now look primed for a main roster call-up. They've done the business at Full Sail, and it wouldn't have been possible without Young as their veteran water carrier. Number 6. Drew McIntyre. It's still too early to draw any concrete conclusions on how Drew McIntyre will fare in this, his second stint working for Vince McMahon, when he has only been back in the company for a mere 10 months. But the early signs are promising. We already know from his being appointed the chairman's chosen one back during his first run that important figures in WWE rate him highly, which was further illustrated when he was made NXT champion so soon after returning. The time he spent working in Impact, where he performed under his real name Drew Galloway, did the big man the world of good. He looks a far more polished performer, undaunted by the bright lights of the world's biggest promotion. Main roster success may not be far off either, provided he gets a clean bill of health in time for the post-WrestleMania draft. Number 5. R-Truth. Barring a brief period of time in 2011, when R-Truth challenged for John Cena's WWE Championship, the former TNA star has struggled to reach the same heights he achieved in the Impact Zone. The former Ron Killings was a two-time NWA Heavyweight Champion, serving as one of the company's early headliners before the likes of Christian and Kurt Angle emerged to steal his thunder in 2006. That said, you can't scoff at a whole decade of continuous employment with WWE. The guy first returned to Monday Night Raw in 2008, and he's been on the payroll ever since. This speaks to R-Truth's enduring value as an entertainer. Whether he's scrounging a cigarette off someone in the front row or performing his daft entrance rap, he's always able to get a good reaction from the audience. Number 4. Bobby Roode. United States champion he may be, but Bobby Roode has had a low-key 2018. He was excluded from the Royal Rumble match itself and dumped from the main show for a nothing encounter with Mojo Rawley instead. The Glorious One's pathway to main event stardom now looks uncertain, but that doesn't mean his previous 2 years in the company suddenly count for nothing. Roode was an engaging character throughout his time in NXT. His matches delivered plenty of drama, and the Shinsuke Nakamura series is held in particularly high regard. There isn't an obvious spot for him at WrestleMania 34, but given his popularity among fans and company officials alike, a bright future awaits. Hell, Roode even looks like Triple H. What else could he possibly need? Number 3. Samoa Joe. WWE might be looking at Samoa Joe for a huge WrestleMania match if not for his recent injury, but sadly, the former NXT champion may not even recover in time. Regardless, Joe's main roster run has been a complete success. Though his athleticism has declined, his character work is truly elite, and his summer program with Brock Lesnar was so successful there was a clamour for him to take the Universal title. Then there's his time spent in NXT, a stage comparable to that provided by Impact. A searing, dangerous heel, Joe remains only one of 2 wrestlers to hold the brand's top championship twice. He was a top guy throughout and can look back on his developmental run with pride. So while there is still plenty left for the former Samoan submission machine to accomplish, his decision to jump ship has already been vindicated. Number 2. Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods was TNA's Consequences Creed for 2 years before jumping to WWE in 2010. Since then, he has formed one of the company's greatest ever stables, as 1/3 of the New Day. Considering that his partners are a former NXT champion and a wrestler who once came close to beating Randy Orton for the world title, this is a mightily impressive achievement from a man who, in wrestling terms, is still relatively wet behind the ears at just 31 years old. What makes it even more impressive is the fact that he was made to endure such a rocky start on the company's main roster, initially pairing up with R-Truth in a dead-end tag team before stumbling upon gold with the New Day. All that's missing from Woods' WWE resume now is a singles run of note, and while that may never happen, he has a guaranteed roster spot as long as unicorns and bad trombone playing are in style. Number 1. AJ Styles. Given what he has accomplished since signing with the company, it seems ridiculous that we once debated whether or not AJ Styles would actually find success in WWE. These fears stemmed less from any doubts about his ability and more towards the way the company book former independent wrestling icons. When you remember that even CM Punk and Daniel Bryan initially struggled after their respective debuts, this cynicism is well founded. But AJ put all those doubts to rest almost immediately, debuting to one of the biggest pops of 2016 at that Royal Rumble, before capturing the company's grandest prize just 8 months later. He couldn't have dreamed of a better rookie year, and his second proved it was no fluke. Any lessons that other TNA imports may look to learn from the phenomenal one's opening 24 months in WWE come with a caveat. Let's not forget that he is genuinely one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, and you can try and copy him, but you'll only ever look like a cheap imitation.
Gosh, can you believe that that person said that about that particular video on that entry? I sure can't. But you should like, share and subscribe below anyway. And also, the people who made this video, they're right here. Go follow them and give them some love. Also, there's more content, probably above my head. Check it out. Or don't. 50-50.